hello, we're back again after that concert that we've given you tonight, live streamed to wherever you are from the David Lee Sound Gallery here at Monash University. And now it's time for our little Q&A. We've had questions rolling in all evening, and we're going to try our best to answer some of them for you now. Our first question is from Jen, and Jen says, "Congratulations on your new role as Program Coordinator at Midsummer Festival. You've mentioned you're deeply passionate about helping emerging artists flourish. Do you have any advice for young artists entering the music industry? What advice would you give your teenage self?" That is such a question to start off with. But my advice for young artists entering the music scene is to be true to yourself. Be true to who you are. Cultivate your own unique intrinsic excellence because it is there inside of you. There are people who will tell you that it isn't there. They are not your people. Find your people, cultivate your own excellence, reach out and connect with others, and do everything with love. And that way, things will be much better than if you try to chop bits of yourself off to try and fit what other people want. That's my advice. Ned, do you have any advice for young musicians as such a wonderful musician yourself?
Thank you. I think it's a great question. It's not something with any easy answers in particular, but the importance of a good network and holding on to the people that you work with and finding those relationships and letting them grow is very important.
That's what I did with this one. We have another question coming in from Beth, and Beth asks, "How is it performing in the Sound Gallery? What do you think it will be like to perform in it when an audience is eventually allowed back?" That's a beautiful question, Beth. As you've probably seen as the different camera angles have moved around the room, the Sound Gallery is just magnificent. It is a beautiful room. It is quite unique. It is perfectly engineered acoustically from the technical aspects of how the sound and equipment is set up to the very fibres of the way the walls and the floors are designed. This beautiful wooden pattern that you see is a fantastic acousmatic surface that it is beautiful. It is stunning to perform in here. It makes me think, if I think of a lineage of singers, it makes me think of some of the great singers of opera in places in the Renaissance, in places like Venice, in places like Peking, singing in those beautiful rooms that were designed perfectly for sound to bounce around. A good room to make music in is golden. And it's such a thrill to have this fantastic new complex here at Monash with rooms like this one. Performing here is just... Performing in fabulous places and to fabulous people is probably one of the greatest thrills of my life. And to answer the second part of your question, what will it feel like when an audience is back? It will just be, to me, art exists in the space between the audience and the artist. The art actually exists in that relationship, in that golden thread between you. So when we're able to manifest that eventually here in this room again, and I hope I see you here, that will be something truly magical. We have a question from Tim. "Do you have any advice for fellow musicians who aren't able to perform live gigs at the moment on how to stay motivated during this time?" I want to begin by prefacing this answer. I'm not a psychologist or a professional counsellor, but there are so many wonderful services out there that you can call. For musicians and anyone in the performing arts, the Support Act helpline is a 24-hour-a-day helpline set up in part by the Arts Wellbeing Collective, as well as several other industry bodies. And it is a wonderful support line because there's unique challenges for artists and arts workers and tech people and people behind the scenes when our industry suddenly vanishes overnight because of this kind of quarantine. If you need the help, there is no shame in admitting something is wrong and reaching out to someone who can help you. Support Act is there for you, as well as the Arts Wellbeing Collective with many resources, and Music Victoria, which has fabulous resources. At the moment, you can actually sign up for free membership with Music Victoria to access all of their resources. For me, it is a time when we must hold on to the fact that we are still musicians, even when we're not performing in front of a live audience, even when we're not recording, we're still a musician. Nothing takes that away. And holding on to that is one of the things that helps me get out of bed in the morning. What do you think, Ned?
I think the first thing you need to do is look after yourself and don't buy into this cult of productivity that in this time you need to be working somehow harder to achieve all those goals that we've all got somewhere in the back of our heads. Especially for an art form that is both our job and also an expressive output for us, it can be really hard to separate, oh, I'm playing for me now, and I'm playing for that job I've got to do. So absolutely write new stuff, practice at home, keep those gears oiled, but don't feel like you have to produce something in this time because you see hundreds of other people's doing a cappella versions of anything.
And so many people keep saying, well, during quarantine with the plague, Shakespeare wrote whichever plays and other artists were so productive. And I say to them, that's true. But King James was throwing mountains of gold at him to do that. He wasn't just stuck cold and hungry and sad and alone writing these masterpieces. So my advice on the flip side to Tim's question, if you're a person with a stable income at this time and there are artists and musicians and tech people and people behind the scenes in the arts and hospitality and events who you love, support them and put your paycheck to good use. Next question, please. Rachel asks, Mama and Ned, did you deliberately match your outfits in this soft blush colour scheme, or is it a beautiful coincidence? I have to admit, we've been rehearsing, we've tried multiple methods of remote distancing rehearsals. We've been on Zoom, we've been on the telephone, we've been on FaceTime, we've been on Facebook Messenger, but one of the things that was the first thing in our first rehearsal, Ned says to me, Mama, what are you wearing? I want to make sure I don't clash and that I match well. And partly there were two reasons why I picked this gown today. Well, there are three reasons, actually. The first was that it was on sale, and that's always appealing to me. But this is the gown that I purchased to wear for the Green Room Awards, the Victorian Performing Arts Industry Awards, which I was going to be presenting some awards at, including to Daniel Clark, one of my great heroes. I was going to be presenting the Contribution to Cabaret Award to him. So I thought, I'll treat myself to a lovely dress from the sales section. I was going to wear this for the Green Room Awards, and it was cancelled, of course. So I wanted a chance to wear it. The other reason, though, that I picked to wear this one tonight is because divas need to wear gowns so that people know instantly that we're divas. But I picked this colour because I knew from being in this room before the beautiful lighting effects that happen in the sound gallery, and I knew we could achieve these beautiful purple tones, so I wanted to wear this one. And then Ned asked me what I was wearing so that Ned could coordinate with this beautiful crushed velvet. Next question, please. Katrina. Katrina asks, I noticed you performed a couple of Nat King Cole covers in your set tonight, and you mentioned his music provides comfort. What else has been a source of comfort for you during these times, these trying times of social distancing and isolation? I think one of the first things when all of the social isolation and quarantining and shutdowns and lock-ins began, I was one of the very early people to decide to do that because many people close to me have chronic health conditions, and I myself have chronic health conditions that put me at risk from coronavirus. And so it's been 2 months this week, really, since I've seen people and been out and about. And at first, I was very depressed. I was very anxious. I was overwhelmed, and I had given in to a sense of hopelessness. I think that's important to let yourself feel those things. But then to help yourself get back up, what I did was I started thinking, well, we're physically distancing, but we're not socially isolated. We're physically isolated, but we're not socially isolated. So using all the tools available to us in this modern world to reach out and connect to our loved ones on social media, on the telephone, all these kind of things. I've been having afternoon teas via telephone with my mum. I've been having wonderful hours-long phone chats with my cousin Sandra. I've been messaging all my friends on Messenger all around the world. So try to stay connected if that is what you want to do. And for me, it is also just remembering there are a lot of people who are worse off than I am. And so I want to make sure every day I do 2 or 3 things, whatever I can do, small or large, that will help others during this time, and that helps me get through. Laura asks, Mama, you have a stunning vocal quality and an incredible range. Thank you, Laura. How did you discover and find your voice? I still, every time anybody says that to me, it does still thrill me and I feel a bit taken aback because I often don't feel like I have a stunning voice. I just love the art of singing, the art of storytelling, the craft of song and music, and I love connecting with other people and helping people feel their emotions. That's why I do it. But a lot of the time I really doubt my voice and whether it's any good or not. And I was amazed to find I'm a great scholar of the great singers and musicians and jazz history and the history of singing. So many great singers throughout the years have felt that way and felt that they had terrible voices. Aretha Franklin, Lena Horne, Sarah Vaughan, some of the greatest singers of our time doubted themselves. Nellie Melba, some of the greatest singers of the past doubted themselves. But every time someone says it, I'm very touched, so thank you, Laura. I discovered and found my voice through listening to my dad's wonderful music collection, which had everything from Elvis to classical music to opera to the great ladies of jazz and soul. And I just loved to sing along with them and the way that they told stories that touched people. Melissa asks, Mama and Ned, you work so beautifully together. How did 2 such extraordinary talents meet? Thank you, Melissa. I do wonder if this is our friend Melissa, who was a wonderful, whose mother also was friends with Ned's grandmother, because it's a small world. So if that's you, hello, Melissa. And if it's not you, still hello, Melissa, but a different Melissa. We went on a date. That's a long time ago. We went on a date. We had coffee on Lygon Street, and we went, and there are a lot of wonderful independent bookstores on Lygon Street, and we went and looked at the bookstores and the record stores, and we had coffee, and we found out we were both musicians, and I connected Ned to my wonderful friend Alana, and they worked together on many cabarets, and we started working together on jazz songs. That was probably 6 years ago now, 6 or 7 years ago now. And then, of course, Ned was our musical director on our acclaimed international show, Gender Euphoria, at the Melbourne International Arts Festival and Sydney Mardi Gras. So we've had a wonderful musical journey and a wonderful friendship together. Probably better than if we'd continued going on dates, I suspect. Stacey says, Mama, just divine. I wonder what you think torch singers have to teach us about getting through this time. Now, I wonder, my favourite book is about torch singing, and it was written by someone named Stacey, and I hope that that is this Stacey, the amazing book Torch Singing, Singing Resistance and Desire from Edith Piaf to Billie Holiday by Dr. Stacey Holman Jones, of course. I highly recommend it. If you're interested in singing, it's the book. Torch singers have so much to teach us, in my opinion. Torch singers have so much to teach us all the time, not just in times of crisis, because torch singing articulates the emotions that are too extreme, that are too grandiose, that are too epic and all-encompassing for one human heart to possibly contain safely. Within songs, we are able to process and understand those feelings, explore them, and in a safe place, caressed by the voice of the torch singer. And torch singers have been through the mill, as many of the songs literally say, through the mill. They are women who are epitomes of what it means to survive and human tenacity, the extraordinary ability of humanity to endure and connect to each other. I think that is at the heart of what torch singers, even Dame Vera Lynn, whose song we sang tonight, torch singers teach us so many things, but in times of crisis, they teach us to love and endure. Last question for this evening. Frankie asks, what will be the first thing you will do once we're on the other side of social isolation? For example, where will you go? Who will you hug? I've barely even thought that far ahead, because thinking that far ahead is, it's hard to imagine at the moment what it will be like after this unprecedented time. Do you have any thoughts, Ned? I will answer, but I'm going to put you on the spot first.
None whatsoever. There are just so many people I want to see and so many things that I want to do that I haven't even thought about what I'm going to do first.
Let's see. Well, I want to reconnect with the live performing arts and music scene. I want to make sure that we get out there and support all of our venues and all of our artists and all of our people behind the scenes, and make sure that the performing arts and music scenes in this country flourish even better, even more than before this crisis. I just want to hug all of my friends and all of my family. I want to have a big afternoon tea party, drink tea together and laugh together without being worried about the droplets flying around. But I also hope that we come out of this time as a kinder society, as a wiser society, as a society that takes care of each other and values people above everything else. Maybe that's the silver lining, is if we can steer our society towards something gentler and kinder and more together after all of this. Now, it's been such a thrill. We're about to leave you tonight here in the David Lee Sound Gallery, part of the M Live programming. This is the Sound Gallery Sessions, live streaming every Wednesday in April and May from Monash University and from this beautiful, beautiful venue. I'm Mama Alto, jazz singer and cabaret artiste. This is Ned Dixon, musical director and pianist extraordinaire. We've been assisted tonight by the wonderful Lauren and Brad and Raph and Stephen and David and so many other people, Christian and Alicia, so many other people behind the scenes who I personally applaud. You can applaud them at home if you like for the work they have put in. If you enjoyed tonight, there is so many more fabulous Sound Gallery sessions coming your way, with the next one at 7 p.m. next Wednesday, the 13th of May, with Kylie Aldist. And they continue all throughout May. I'm Mama Alto. This has been live streamed from the David Lee Sound Gallery at the Sound Gallery Sessions at Monash University. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you on the other side.
We would like to thank you and everyone involved in this experience. For more on the Sound Gallery Sessions, visit monash.edu/mlive.